I think everybody is expecting Israel to react decisively. And I think at this moment, it's a good idea to take stock and try and assess how we've got to this position. It's actually the Jewish New Year, the festival of Rosh Hashanah, starting tonight. And if you told Israelis this time last year that the situation would be where it is, I don't think many would have believed you. Things look dire after October the 7th. And yet, just this 1 year on, it's very hard to summarize everything, but Israel has defeated the military capabilities of Hamas in the Gaza Strip, dealt a severe blow to terrorism in the West Bank, in Judea and Samaria, and has also reproven its deterrence effect in the region by managing to strike at 1,800 kilometers away in Yemen to the Houthis twice, has also stunned Hezbollah and the whole world by taking out that threat in the north of the country that was there looming, has eliminated Nasrallah, and has now been given by Iran the one-time opportunity that it's been waiting for years to legitimately strike back at Iran, which has been long developing nuclear weapons with the stated aim of trying to eradicate Israel. All of these things really gather together to illustrate what the ultimate threat is in the region, which is the Islamic Republic of Iran. Iran has sponsored, trained, and orchestrated all of these attacks in what it calls an axis of resistance. It's created what it calls a ring of fire around Israel, with the Houthis in Yemen in the south, with in the north, in Lebanon, Hezbollah, with its own attacks and attacks from Iraq from the east. And this has meant that Israel has been surrounded by these proxy forces, with the fight never going directly to Iran itself. But now that it's attacked twice in this extreme way, Israel has really got a license to do what Benjamin Netanyahu has wanted to do for many years, which is to try to strike at Iran, deal it a severe blow, possibly take out that nuclear threat. And now we know that the IAEA has said that Iran is very much on the cusp of having nuclear weapons capability that would threaten us all in the West.
And so a year or so in, having taken out those senior military figures and the leaders of some of the groups that you've been talking about in the last few days, far from the conflict drawing to some sort of end, some sort of conclusion, it feels like it's growing by the day now.
Indeed, it does seem to be coming to some sort of climax. And of course, that is very alarming because while there is some optimism in Israel about this renewed military success and strategic success after the long, slow grind of those 11 months or so in Gaza, this is an opportunity to rebalance the entire region. Of course, all those countries that were normalizing relations with Israel before October the 7th last year did so because they shared a fear of Iran and its threat in the region, and also the potential for it to go nuclear. So Israel is once again proving to those countries and the rest of the world, and this axis of resistance or terror, if you use Israel's phraseology, that it is able to deter that sort of action, that it does have unmatched intelligence, whether it's in Lebanon and Hezbollah or deep in Iran itself. And it's able to use its military superiority and its intelligence superiority to hold back that Iranian threat. And I think that's a vital thing that Israel needs to be able to prove to its newfound allies in the region. It's also something that, despite protestations from the US and others in the West, is really doing the whole West, the whole world a favor. I think, really, to put it concisely, one hopes that Israel is able to save the West before the West stops it doing so.
Others may see it differently, of course, as to whether Israel does need to prove that. But what's your reaction, finally, to some of the world leaders who've commented? I mean, our own Prime Minister has made comments in the past few days, standing by Israel, and it seems that the US President has perhaps gone even further than that. We've heard as well from the President of the European Commission today, talking about the conflict. How concerned should people in Europe be, for example?
Well, people in Europe should be concerned about the Iranian threat generally, because the IRGC, the Iranian forces, have in fact got a network of influence and terror around the West, including in Europe and the UK. Not long ago, British intelligence said they'd foiled numerous plots from Iran to kill people on UK soil. We can't forget Nazanin Zaghari Ratcliffe, who is a British national they imprisoned and tortured for years and eventually only released in return for a vast amount of money. The British sailors who were kidnapped some years ago by Iran. All of these threats are very real, and they've got nothing to do with Israel or with Jews. So I think that the West is realizing now that Iran is actually directly attacking Israel, that these other conflicts that were going on around Israel, whether it was with Hamas, the Houthis, or with Hezbollah, were all actually orchestrated and directed by Iran. And so they are all now quietening down, I think, with their criticisms of Israel's conduct in those conflicts and realizing that the bigger conflict here is one that they share very much, a declared intention to defeat Iran on this. And that's why I think they are falling in line now. The US is looking to align positions with
Okay.
Israel on its response to Iran, and the rest of the West will fall in line too, I believe.